I'm now going to be joined by Rob Scripture. He is the Township Assessor for West Bloomfield to talk about his position within the township and how the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has affected their staff and those residents that they work with in West Bloomfield. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, Rob.
Thank you, Maddie.
Oh, I think you can get a little bit closer. We can't quite hear you.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So, good morning, Rob. Can you explain first your role as the Township Assessor here in West Bloomfield and how your position works with the other staff members in Town Hall?
Sure. My key role as a Township Assessor is to apply property tax law just to establish uniform, accurate property assessments for real property, which is your homes, businesses, and the building structures. Also personal property, which are your tangible items such as the computers and desks within businesses. And this is all the real and personal property within the township. Ultimately, my responsibilities are to prepare an assessment roll annually, which pretty much contributes to 60% of the township's budget. I continually work with the County Equalization Department to make sure that each class of property within the township is being assessed appropriately at the right levels. And I also calculate the millages for the township for the following year. And my department really works with other departments, such as the finance department, to produce property tax revenue. We do have a 10-year budget, and we're constantly updating that. I'd say 4 or 5 times a year. We work with our information technology department to provide information to the public, whether it's your assessment information, your sketches, and all the forms that we have that's put on our website and through our assessing portal. We work with our planning and development department to research, prepare for upcoming projects, large construction projects or small construction project. We work really closely with the building and code enforcement departments, which are both departments that do a lot of traveling in and around our township. You've seen our cars traveling around. They're doing their work, and so is our assessing department. If we find something that that should be brought to their attention, we will contact that department, and vice versa. So it works mutually well.
And Rob, obviously, in the assessing department, a day-to-day might look a little bit differently throughout the week, but could you give us a little bit of insight into either what your day-to-day looks like, or if you and your staff members, what you deal with on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. The number one goal here in assessing, and what we spend most of our time doing, is to educate our taxpayers. The property tax administration is not the easiest to understand. It is complicated. There's a lot to it, and we spend most of our time explaining things like Proposal A, which was introduced in 1994, which provided Michigan a capped system of taxation, meaning that once the property is capped, that your taxes and your property can go up only by consumer price index or 5%, whichever is less. We do provide estimates of property taxes for those who've either purchased or interested in purchasing in West Bloomfield, for their personal budgeting reasons. We handle all property transfer affidavits, which is it's required to be filed here at the township within 45 days, which could lead to an uncapping. We do research every one of those property transfer affidavits to make sure that uncapping is applied correctly. Tax exemptions for property taxes are all filed here, which include things like small business tax for personal property, 100% disabled veterans, there's an exemption for them. Principal residence exemptions, which is if you own and occupy a property, this is your primary residence, you are exempt up to 18 mils of school tax, which is all available to our taxpayers, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. We do perform an annual personal property audit where we should review every business here in West Bloomfield. We handle all of the appeals, whether it's locally at the March Board of Review or the Michigan Tax Tribunal, which is in Lansing. We handle the special assessments districts, which are really designed to improve areas in our township, through a special assessment financing method. It includes roads, bridges, lake improvements. Any land division is handled here. You want to combine, split a property, everything is handled at this location. We do verify the taxpayer of record, which we work hand in hand with Register of Deeds at the county to ensure that our records are reflected accurately. And most of our time is really spent on-site inspections. We are out to get an accurate assessment record, which means we are on on site and reviewing properties, and our staff, continue to do this all year long.
And Rob, as we wrap up, is there anything else that you wanted to share with the audience, whether that's how you guys dealt with the pandemic, through the ongoing pandemic, making sure that everyone is staying safe in the building, and if you've seen any direct impact with the pandemic on those West Bloomfield residents that you serve?
Yes, the pandemic hit all businesses, all organizations pretty much the same way. We've had to respond. We not only have to respond to the tempo of the pandemic, which means the comfort level of our taxpayers, especially when it comes to inspections. We've also had to respond to the changes that the state tax commission issues, guidelines, deadlines, whether certain things could be virtual meetings, whether they can't be, whether additional meetings are required. So we are constantly adjusting our practices to make sure that, one, our staff is safe, and two, our public is safe, and three, we're in compliance with the state of Michigan. We have taken advantage of the 2 months, working from home that, the township and the state was in lockdown. We continued working and answering the phones and helping the public as best we could, and, kept ourselves busy with a lot of projects that we typically save for when we're, slow, but we were able to utilize that time and make the best of it and clean up our records. Let me put it that way.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us this morning, Rob.
Thank you very much.